What's up everyone, it's Mandy from Designs by Miss Mandy here, and today I'm excited to share with you some tips that I've learned on how to create projects for your Cricut that involve score or fold lines. So this was something I was hard pressed to find again, tutorials on how to do this from scratch, and so I can't wait to share with you what I've learned. So if you haven't watched my first video on how to create SVG cut files for your Cricut using Adobe Illustrator, be sure to check that one out first because I'm going to be kind of bypassing some steps. But as you can see here, I have two layers. If you look over my layers panel, I have two different compound paths. And one of these is going to end up being my cut layer, and the other one is going to be my scoring layer. So these are going to be some envelopes and cards that I'm making for fall. I just decided to make some with leaves. And just to show you here, if I drag this over a little bit, you can see that the leaves are not just white leaves on top of a black background. They really are cut out of the black shape, which is important. And once again, be sure to watch my previous video on making SVG cut files, on how to do that to cut out those negative shapes if you don't know how. But the important part is both of these are compound paths, so that they're ready to be made into SVGs. This one, these are just lines. So once again, this is going to be my scoring layer in the end, and these are just lines. So these are solid shapes that are going to be cut out of my paper, and then these are the scoring lines. So since this is going to be an envelope, these are the flaps that I'm going to be folding, and since this is going to be a card, I wanted to put a scoring line in the middle to be able to fold it in half. So there you go. Now I'm just going to get rid of my extra layer here, and with just my two compound path layers, I'm going to save this project as an SVG file by just going to save as, and then in the format settings choose SVG. Make sure not to put use artboards in there. It'll kind of mess things up with SVG files, so just make sure to just click SVG but don't click artboards. The default settings for this should be fine, and then you click OK. So after you have that, we're going to come over to Cricut Design Space, and we're going to have a new file. And the first thing we're going to do is go to Upload Images. Find where you saved your file, and I've already previously saved this file, so I'm going to open that. You can name it whatever you want, of course, and then insert it into your canvas. So here are some important steps for distinguishing your cut layer and your scoring layer. Right now these are both default set to cut, but we want our top layer, we want to change that. So click on the little scissor icon right there and change it from cut to score, and it's going to have this little kind of almost looks like a pen mark. And when you click on that, it'll change your lines to be scoring lines instead of cutting lines. And then the last thing we need to do before we send this to cut is we need to select both layers and then click attach. If you don't do that, then when you go to cut your file out, it's going to put your scoring layer and your cutting layer on two different mats, which is an incredibly useless feature that I don't know why Cricut has, but it does. So you need to make sure that your layers are attached to each other. Once you have that, you can click go, and I'm just using 8.5 by 11 paper. Just going to move this over a little bit. Make sure your settings are correct. Hit go. Okay, so I have my mat and my paper all ready to go, and I've even got my scoring stylus set in there. Just in case you haven't seen one of these before, it doesn't come with the Cricut, so you do have to buy it separately. It just kind of looks like a pen with kind of a pointy tip, and that's what's going to be creating our fold lines. So just make sure to have that in there, push it down and it'll click, close the clamp, and got my regular blade in there. I'm just using kind of a light cardstock a craft paper. So I have my dial set to light cardstock plus. I found that that's the best setting for this type of paper. And so the mat's loaded and we're ready to go. Okay, so I finished my cut and unloaded my paper, and here's the finished result. I'll take these off so you can see. It might be kind of hard to see the score lines. If you catch them in the light, you can kind of see them. They're pretty faint, but they do the trick. They help you get a nice fold right where you want to without having to try too hard. I wish they did dent a little bit more, but it does make it a little bit easier to fold things. And then here's how the cards turned out. Really cute. Once again, has that little score line right there to make it nice and easy to fold it. And if you want to make the fold a little bit nicer crease, you can always use a folding tool like this one. And by doing that, you can get a little bit better crease. But yeah, so I put a couple of these envelopes together already, just using some glue. As you can see, they just slide right in there and would make a really cute little card for somebody. And you can download this template off of my website, designsbymissmandy.com, and get the template for yourself. So I hope you learned something new and enjoy my tutorial. Be sure to check out my website to practice and download this file for yourself and make your own cute little fall cards. Thanks for watching!